Hi, I'm just sharing my screen.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So good morning to everyone. Let's start history of Python. I think in the last class we have seen the purpose and the areas where the Python is being used and how it was become more popular in 2020 and 2021 year compared to the previous. Let's now dig a little bit more into the history and development of Python programming language. So I hope you are seeing my screen, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So in this session, we will be knowing why this name was called a Python. So how this name comes from into Guido mind and why he has named this was a Python for this programming language, and also like what was the first version he has released and what was the latest release and how it is working now. So uh, let's come into this. Why is it called Python? So when we talk about this history, as I said, like Guido van Rossum. So he is the invented, the scientist who has invented this Python initially in 1980s. So he has created this Python in 1980. So why he has named this language as Python means, so when he started, developing this Python program, so Guido van Rossum was also reading one of the more popular published script called Monty Python's Flying Circus. So this name was Monty Python's Flying Circus. This is the most popular circus series produced by BBC comedy channel. So at that time, the BBC channel was, the showing a show called Monty Python's Flying Circus. This is the web comedy series, and it was started, the publishing this series in 1970s. And when he's watching this series, he's thinking that why can't I develop a program similar to this Monty Python's Flying Circus, because this comedy series was more random and it was having more, tricks and having more logical, these scenes, and we cannot predict anything in this series. And then he decided to put the name called a Python to his language, because if you look at Python, also a versatile and widely used in every technical field, because it has the lot of libraries and you cannot predict what is going to happen and how you are going to use it. Hence, he wanted to provide a name that was short and unique and slightly mysterious. So and he was thinking in that way at the time of 1970s, and then he put his programming language name called Python. So then he decided to call that language as Python because it is very short and it is using pure English words and it is very mysterious and it is so unique compared to other programming languages. So this was where the name called Python was started, and where the name was born up to called as language Python. So when discussing the history of a Python, so we cannot avoid the programming language called ABC programming language, because in the 1970s, so Guido was working as an implementer using ABC program. Again, ABC is an interactive, simple programming language at the time of 1980. Interactive and simple programming language when he working with ABC programming language, he started thinking of implementing a new program with ABC limitations. So at the point of time working is with ABC programming language, this ABC programming language have some limitations. So when you talk about ABC, so basically this is similar to basic programming language. So again, when you talk about basic, so if you look at the programming languages in 1960s, so there are some programs in 1960s and 1970s. So where people are using, basic in 1960s programming languages are basic, the Fox Pro, DBase, etc., etc. These are the programming languages we used to see and scientists are using in the 1960s. So this ABC program was basically invented based on basic program. So again, basic program is nothing but, so a beginner's purpose, all symbolic instruction code. So that means a basic program was a little bit, very pure English words which has some symbols where everybody can understand and can use in DOS command prompt. And based on this programming language, ABC program was invented. And when he working with ABC programming, and he thought of implementing a new program using ABC program limitations. So there are some limitations in ABC program, like computations and calculations, and a lot of shortage in the libraries. And he just wanted to develop another program using these limitations. Hence, he was invented this Python program. So in this ABC program, we have different kind of operating system have been used, and this ABC program is very easy to learn and very easy to use also. So originally intended as a language for beginners, so it has evolved into powerful tool for beginners and experts at the point of time in the 1960s and 1970s. So this ABC program using MOB as an operating system. So the operating system which this ABC program was used called Amoeba. This is the distributed operating system. And this ABC program was running on this operating system using a flip protocol. So in 1970s. So when he is working with this Amoeba and ABC programming language, and he has seen some limitations with this programming language and the operating system, because this ABC program only works on this Amoeba operating system, but not on other operating systems. And even in that point of time, we don't have many operating systems as well. So basically, he wanted to develop a new program which supports all operating systems, and also it should not have any limitations, and anybody can use, and no one can think of like what is the limitation of this Python program. Hence, he was in that way, and he has implemented this Python such a way so it is supporting nowadays for everything. Okay, so this Python was initially invented in 1980. That's fine. If you look at some overview points here. First one is Python lays its foundation in the late 1980. Of course, it was in 1989 officially, but the foundation was started in 1980. And second one is the importance of Python was, this was started in December 1989. So it was started in 1989, December, by Guido van Rossum. So, and again, the place was at CWI in Netherlands. Sorry, I mean, forgive me because the CW is nothing but, it has some, acronym word, a Centrum voor Vakants and Informatica. So it was a place in Netherlands. So where the Guido was, started working with the ABC program, and he has invented this Python program based on the limitations in the ABC program. So, and coming to the third one, in Feb 1991. So the Guido was published the code officially, a stable version called 0.9.0. So Guido was published the first version and stable version, that is 0.0.9. And the same version he has published it to, same version he has published to all source. So this is the main organization where, so they are giving some, the registration and the registration process for every programming language. And he has given this labeled version 0.0.9 to the all sources in 1991. And coming to the fourth one, in 1994, 1.0 version was released with new features like lambda features and map and filter and collection objects. So in 1994, 1.0 version was released with these features, and earlier it was 0.0.9. And in 1994, he has added a lambda feature in mapping and filter and collection objects. So, and after that, Python was released another version in, I think, October 2000. 2.0 was released, and with the new features like list comprehensive, garbage collection, and memory allocation system. So in 2.0 version, so he has introduced list components and garbage collection and memory management systems, like how the variable having space in virtual space address, how variables are managing their memory in the system, and how garbage collector comes into the picture when the program started looking for a memory for a new variable, and instead of a programmer explicitly disposing a variable, how GC garbage collector comes into the picture and removing this variable memory address from a heap and stack memory. So this was automatic garbage collector system was available in the Python program. So no need to dispose or destroy any object or any variable which is being used in your program. And when there is a need for your newly declared variables or objects, then garbage collector comes into the picture and looking for these unused and unreferenced variables since a long time in the heap memory, and it is going to automatically remove it. And coming to the next one, So on December 2008, I think so, in December 2008, 3.0 version was released. So this is the no what you call the 3.0 version was the major version which stood many years and it has many features and a lot of developers being used this version. Hence, this version also called as Pi 3K. So this is the major version was released in 2008, which had many features and many libraries, which supports all programming languages, and it was stood many years and many developers being used many years, and later on, other versions was introduced. So if you look at this 3.0, we have so many features because it's basically designed for a fundamental flaw of language. It introduces artificial intelligence libraries as well in part of this 3.0. So it was no designed for to rectify the fundamental bugs or flaws of the language. And seventh one is, so as I said, so the Python predecessor language was ABC programming language. So where is initially worked with this ABC programming language. And ABC programming language is said to be a predecessor language because before Python he was worked with ABC programming. So basically, this ABC programming language doesn't have a features like exception handling and memory allocations part. This is the main impact of this ABC language. And these two are the main limitations in ABC program. And Guido wanted to be adopt these features into this Python program actually. So these are some of the limitations in ABC program. So ABC programming language is said to be predecessor of Python language, which was not capable of handling some of the limitations like exception handling and memory management. Also, it has tightly coupled operating system called Amoeba. So this is where another limitation we have in ABC program. So hence he wanted to remove these dependencies in the new programming language. Hence he wanted to work towards to remove these limitations and he has removed these dependencies in Python program. So these are the some of the overview points when it comes to the Python program. And if you look at other aspects of the other versions of Python, so the latest version of Python was 3.9 and it was introduced, released in October 2020. So this is the latest version and we wanted to install this latest version going forward and set up this version and create environment setup and some of the system paths and variables to use this 3.9. But before this 3.9, as I said, the initial version was 1.0 and later version was 2.0 and then there are some other versions also introduced like 2.1 and 2.6, but those versions are not stored many years and hence 3.0 was introduced and then 3.6 came, and then 3.7, and then 3.8, now 3.9. This is where, so we stood on this and talking about more libraries and features of Python. It has many, the current market usage libraries available, huge number of support and communities working towards to support mainly for this artificial intelligence and machine learning. So because as I said, Python was more versatile programming language and it can be used in any area. So it doesn't have any limitations. It is one of the most popular programming languages in 2020 and 2021, and it has attracted a lot of market attention from the start because of simple and clear and modular approach. So if we compare to Java and C++, Python syntax allows programmers to code in fewer steps. It doesn't require more lines of code if you wanted to convert or the transform your thinking and real world problems into a programming code. It doesn't require more number of or more lines of code in Python as compared to C++ and Java and .NET programming languages, because it has numerous programming paradigms. As I said, it's supporting huge community and libraries, and so it is very easy to deploy or set up or develop your thinking and thoughts and tasks into a programming paradigms. And also in most cases, so generally if you look at Python, so it is very simple words and it is using indentation instead of curly braces or space or other programming style pattern. So it is just using indentation, like giving of space. You don't need to give any space when you give a kind of colon, then it is automatically adding indentation for your program. That is where it is looking at the syntax pattern when you're running a program, and it is identifying syntax errors before running your program, and no need to looking at your syntax as well. But sometimes when you copy any program from a old Python files, like if you have a developed a program in Python in earlier versions like in 3.8 or 3.7 or 3.6 or 3.0, and if you wanted to copy and work with 3.9, at the time based on the editor, so there are some chances to remove this indentation. At that time, you need to correct the indentation. Otherwise, when you develop a new program, it is going to automatically add indentation, and it is coming as part of your, writing of your program. So it's having versatile structure and style, and it is supporting like object-oriented pattern and imperative and object-oriented functionality programs also can be used in this Python. So this 1.0 again, it was introduced in January 1994, and this is 2.0 again, October 2000 year, and 2.1 was again April 2001, and this 2.6 was I think July 2010, and 3.0 was December 2008. I think this is not 2010, I think it's my mistake. It's 2002 or something. And 3.6 was December 2016. And 3.7 was June 2016. And this 3.8 was October 2019. And this latest version was again October 2020. So this is the history and the version history of Python. So it was started with 0.0.9 level version. Now it was the 3.9. In each and every version, so the whatever community people are working towards this Python program, they're adding every version they're adding in every version a lot of libraries, and they're updating libraries to the up to market. So if you wanted to support current trending market or current requirement and current approach, how the people are following in the market to adopt IoT or Bitcoins or artificial intelligence or machine learning, because these are the top 5 technologies using in the market to support and to emphasize all these aspects in the Python programs. The community libraries, whatever we have in Python, should be up to date. Otherwise, it cannot be runnable or manageable in the market, because there is a other programming language called R, which is also having similar features and which is always giving a big competition for Python to support all these aspects in the market. So hence, so this should be more updated and more attractive for the users. Otherwise, it won't, fight with other programming languages. So coming to the overview. So as I said, it is supporting different features and different areas. Python was greatly involves or I say Python was a great choice, I can say, for some of the applications like web and internet development or internet applications. That means using a Python, as I said, Django framework is one of the framework which has a pyramid framework styles and which can be helpful to develop web and internet applications. And also Flaska, there is another framework where you can still use that micro framework to develop web and internet applications using a Python. And second one is scientific applications. That means if you wanted to filter and visualize your scientific data, or if you wanted to, create a pipeline and publish these insights of data to the end user or a data scientist or any scientist, you can use a Python program because it supports a lot of libraries to extract the scientific data from the previously experimented data. So that means it has a good feature and good library called NumPy and SkyPy. These are the libraries which had a collection of packages for the purpose of mathematical calculations and science and engineering methods. So where this SkyPy will involve all these areas to filter your data, and it will provide you the filter data to further visualize the insights in the graph format. So hence you still can develop scientific and numeric computation using Python program. And also coming to the third one, education. That means still you can use this Python program for education. That means it's a brilliant language for the teaching, training programs using a Python program. That means you can read your website and you can explain it, and also you can get the details of your website, and you can try and same thing to the people who are really looking for this Python. And coming to the fourth one, so it supports desktop GUIs. That means you can develop GUI applications, standalone applications, Windows applications as well. As I said, first one is web-based, and this is the second one, scientific. Third one, in education. Fourth one, desktop. This means EXEs, standalone application. So those also you can develop using Python program, and also you can develop games. So if you wanted to develop any games applications, still Python supports a lot of libraries, and you still use a Python program. And I think already they have been used in some of the games, a Battlefield series, a game which is a famous game, still using a Python program. And also you can use this Python for web services or microservices. so that you can use that microservice in any other programming languages. Like as I said, Dropbox and some of the Google and BitTorrent and NASA and NSA organizations and industries were using this Python, basically using microservice concepts. So still you can use this Python program for developing web service and microservices apart from above features. So these are the some of the great areas where you can use a Python program. So this is something about the history and overview of a Python, and let's again summarize the concepts. So Guido was invented this in 1990 based on ABC programming languages, and this name was no invented so like as at the time of 1970s. He's watching one of the BBC web series called Monty Python's Flying Circus, and he's liking mysterious and suspense and unpredictable situations and scenes, and he wanted to put a similar kind of aspects in his programming language, hence he want that name called a Python. And this ABC programming, again, one of the interactive and general purpose programming language where it is using for calculations and, you know, some of the computations in the mathematics at the time of 1970s using Amoeba operating system. But it has some limitations, and so he moved to Python, and initially he has invented the version called 0.0.9, and then he started introducing version by version by adding new features. And in the initial stage, he only the person who is working with Python, but coming to the latter part of later versions, large community was supporting this Python. Large peoples are working towards to support this Python, was a great language in the market. Hence, they are being introduced version by version like this, and adding different features to support current market trend. Hence, it was more popular in 2021 because it is more widely using in machine learning and artificial intelligence. And these are some of the areas, and these are some of the areas, but not complete areas. And you can use your Python program uh, without any doubt, and comparing to other programming languages like C++ and Java and .NET. So those are the programming languages which are tightly giving a more competition in the market. So we will look into the next topic, like how we are going to set up a Python in your system, and how we are going to run simple program, and how we are going to declare variables and other operators and run this Python program. So I'm going to wrap up this session here itself, and we will start this Python program, setup and configuration part in tomorrow's session. Please let me know if you have any doubts. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just wanted to give some more in detail of a Python. So from tomorrow onwards, I'll start setup and configuring of Python and editors, and then start simple programming and going on.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
And this is all about history of Python, right?
Yeah, versioning and history of Python.
And you mentioned in 1994 itself they developed Lambda.
In 1994, Lambda is not a programming language. It's a kind of a feature introduced in the Python.
Lambda is a serverless thing, right? We use Lambda for serverless.
That is different one. I think.
Okay. That Lambda
so
is different than this.
Yes, this is a feature in that library, like map and filter and collections.
Okay.
If you look at LinkU,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
Tell me.
Yeah, so no, that's what I was wondering. In 1994 itself, they got Lambda. I was thinking, okay, this is
that is different serverless programming language. This is the future. If you look at LinkU, language integrated, concept in the .NET, like instead of writing a huge number of lines for getting a field or column value from the data set or any a file. So we have a linky feature, similar way we have here lambda feature.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, so bye. We will meet tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Ramana.
Yeah, thank you.